We are back, and now it's time to talk about the teams we are selling. Again, this is a stock market type episode. We talked about our buyers. It's tough to talk about the guys we're selling, but we got to do. We got to do. The first thing I want to talk about, just get them out the way. The Lakers. I'm recording this on a Tuesday. Y'all will be watching this on a Wednesday, so you got to know I'm coming off of a night when I just watched them play so pathetically against the Sacramento Kings team, a team that has no business really competing with the Los Angeles Lakers in no circumstance. But I am tired of the Lakers. I am, because at the beginning of the year, during the honeymoon phase, I gave them a lot of credit and I was starting to buy into what they were doing. And I got blinded once again. They bamboozled me yet again. I went into the season knowing all of the issues from a roster construction that they were dealing with. And yet I turned a blind eye and I was just like, I'm going to just let the success that they're having early make me buy into what they're doing. And now the reality is still here. This team can't guard anybody, and they will not be able to guard anybody. There's not a move out there realistically that they can do at the trade deadline that's going to fix the defensive issues that they have. They have a role player problem, and that's just what it is. It's to the point where I'm asking myself, and I say this with all respect because I love LeBron James and I love clutch sports, and I have nothing bad to say about them. But to me, when I watch the Lakers, there feels like both sides are at a crossroads. The Lakers feel like they wish LeBron James was at the last year of his career. It feels like they wish this was his farewell tour, or they wish this was the last year of his contract because they're ready to move on with the Luka Doncic era. And it feels like LeBron is at a crossroads as well. This is the first time where he's had a team be more focused and kind of prioritize somebody else. And it feels like on some nights or in some moments, LeBron is understanding of that, being realistic. But then it's like a night where LeBron spazzes and he cocks it back and dunks on somebody's head as a 41-year-old. And he's like, wait, I'm LeBron James. I don't have to sit in the corner and defer. You should still think of me if you're planning to win basketball games. You should still prioritize me. And on top of that, another guy that I have a lot of respect for, Rich Paul. I know a lot of y'all see he has a new podcast with Max Kellerman. And a couple times in this new podcast, clips are circulating of Rich Paul speaking about the Lakers and some of his clients. And a report came out today before I started recording that the Lakers aren't too fond of some of the things he said. Like the most recent clip was Rich Paul telling Max Kellerman that the Lakers should trade Austin Reeves for Jaren Jackson Jr. And I believe the report because it's like, obviously he doesn't speak for LeBron, but he's close to LeBron. They're like this. So I can imagine what it's like going into the locker room or, the organization not being the biggest fans of it. Is it the biggest deal? No, they're all, grown men who understand the nature of the business. And again, Rich Paul is his own man. He's not LeBron. He does not speak for LeBron. But y'all know how the NBA world is. Y'all know how, everybody ego ain't strong, and it can just create an unnecessary distraction or tension or awkwardness in a locker room for a team that isn't already together. It seems like on the floor, at least. You're watching Malik Monk, who was just getting DMPs, light you up. You can't guard a pick and roll of Russell Westbrook and Maxine Reynal. How are you going to guard Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic? I like watching them. I have no faith in anything that they do defensively. Now, this team is going to be able to score. Luka Doncic is always going to give you a chance. But a lot of the defensive options that they try to make up for on the defensive side, those guys are liabilities on offense. I watched Jared Vanderbilt shoot a three, and nobody in the entire building cared. The Kings just was like this, shoot. So when you have those type of things, makes me lose confidence in you. Another team that's been all over the place is the Cleveland Cavaliers, going on that eastern side of the conference. They're 5-5 in their last 10. They had a loss to the Utah Jazz that was kind of, I don't know, was cementing for me. The hard thing for me with teams like the Cavaliers is I understand basketball and how it works. Sometimes we look so close into a game by game situation that we forget basketball is about matchups. It's about a little bit of luck. Could you be a little bit more healthy than your opponent? And sometimes it's about getting hot at the right time. And I look at the Cavs and I look at the talent they have on this roster, and it isn't out of this world of a chance that they get hot at the right time or they mesh or, something clicks for them right before the playoffs start and they look like another team this summer, right? It's not out of the realm of possibility. And I tried to convince myself that over the last week or so, but then I see a game like last night against the Jazz, and it's true. The Cavs aren't the same. They've lost their defensive identity. They have one of the front courts that is like double big lineup. They lost the rebound battle to the Jazz by 20. They allowed the Jazz to shoot 40 something percent from three. I mean, they couldn't guard Keontae George to save their lives. It was worrisome. And you look at this team, there's not a lot of moves that they can make this year. Earlier today, it was reported that DeAndre Ayton wants out of Cleveland. DeLonzo Ball signing looked really good on paper. I was excited to see that. It hasn't panned out how we all hoped. And the loss of Ty Jerome seems to be a lot more bigger of an issue than I expected. They miss Ty Jerome. They need some dog. And I know everybody is saying that. I feel like I've been hearing everybody call the Cavs soft to the point where I kind of got tired of it. But they're right. They shot 13 free throws last night. The Jazz doubled them in free throws. Rebounding is an effort stat. They just, I don't know. They don't keep guys off the glass. They're dead last in opponent three-point percentage. Teams are almost shooting 40% from three on a nightly basis against them. They have constant injuries. They can't guard without fouling. They're too inconsistent. It's just, I don't know. Opponents' fast break points, 16 a game. And this is a team that had a really good offense last year. I mean, a really good defense last year. And they had a 3-game stretch about a week or so ago where they beat the Spurs, Suns, and the Nuggets back to back to back. And I was like, oh, this could be them turning that page. This could be them getting on track. And then they lost to the Pistons, and they beat the Pacers, and they split with the Wolves and lost to the Jazz and lost, to the 70, like they have the 76ers twice in the next 2 games, and then they play OKC. So this is another tough stretch. It's just hard for me to find any confidence with the Cavaliers. And I think this is the last version of this team that we will see. I think depending on what happens, or, not even depending on what happens, unless they make some type of run, I don't expect for this core to be intact. And a lot of people are speaking on Evan Mobley. Evan Mobley is a tough guy to hold accountable because Evan Mobley, though a lot of people anticipated or wanted another jump from him, he's still a damn good basketball player, and they have the success that they do have because of how good he is. Yeah, I would love for him to be more aggressive as well on a night-to-night basis. But if he's going to give you this bottom line play, it's still defensive player of the year level. It still allows you to have some form of success. It's just about looking in the mirror and addressing the fact that he probably, maybe, won't take that step. And if he does, it ain't happening now. We have to address what you have on this team. Staying out east, the Orlando Magic, another team that was, the second best defense last year. They are now the 13th. Not too far off. You kind of traded some of the defense for the offense. You went out and got Desmond Bane. They're another team that's been dealing with a bunch of injuries. I'm just kind of selling them. Something just doesn't feel like it's clicking the way it should be. Thinking about the expectations that they had coming into the year, it is fun seeing Paolo kind of get his groove back a little bit. And obviously they've missed him for a little bit. They missed Franz again for a little bit. Mo Wagner, Franz's brother, is returning. They're 22nd in fouls per game. They can't guard without fouling. Opponents shoot 25 free throws a night. They still struggle a bunch with perimeter shooting. That is just something that I guess is just going to always exist with them. And the offense hasn't improved. It has improved, but not enough to give me faith for them in the playoffs. I think they're going to be a team that other opponents can scheme against and give them some fits, and then that ultimately will allow them to come up short in the playoffs. And then also the Rockets, which is tough for me because the Rockets are one of my favorite teams in NBA. They're still one of my favorite teams to watch. Y'all know I love me some Kevin Durant. I love me some Sengun, Amin Thompson, Reed Shepard. I just love the Rockets, and I love what Raphael Stone has done, and Ime Udoka is one of my favorite coaches. They've lost 4 of their last 5. They're on a 3-game losing streak to non-playoff teams. They average 118, but the last 5 games, they haven't scored over 105 points. Out of the last 16 games, opponents have scored over 110 9 times, which is the average. They average on night-in-night basis to hold opponents to 110 points. They've given up 128 to the Clippers, 119 to the Pacers, 110 to the Mavs, 133 to the Pelicans, 133 to the Jazz, 122 to the Mavs. They're a mess right now, and I don't know what can save this team. So they're another team that I'm selling.
Hit subscribe for more news, highlights, and analysis from the NBA on NBC.